the new year be the new birth of our consciousness, leaving the past far behind us. Let us run towards the luminous future. Lord, the year is dying, and our gratitude bows down to Thee. Lord, the year is reborn, our prayer rises up to Thee. Let it be for us also the dawn of a new life. Que la naissance de la nouvelle année soit une nouvelle naissance pour notre conscience, laissant le passé loin derrière nous, courons vers un avenir lumineux. Seigneur, l'année se meurt et notre gratitude s'incline devant Toi. Seigneur, l'année renaît et notre prière s'élève vers Toi. Que cela soit pour nous aussi l'aurore d'une vie nouvelle.
Vi superno in antarikshanyakhyat gavir vipahaya surah sunitha kvedanim suryah kaschita katamadhyam rashmirasya tatana.
Mantras of our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, when you see light, that is vision. When you feel light entering into you, that is experience. When light settles in you and brings illumination and knowledge, that is realization. With always our love and blessings, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo.
Tvamaganalitaya vahasamidhire pratna pratnasayute sahaskrita Purushchandram yajatam vishwadhayasam Damunasam grihapatim varenyam Tvamagani atithim purvyam vishaha Suchishkesham grihapatim nishedire Vrihatketum pururupam dhanaspritam Susharmanam swavasam jaradvisham Tvamagane manushirate vishohotravidam vivitimiratnadhatamam guhasantam subhagavishwadarshatam tuishvanasam suyayam kritasvyam.
Sri Aurobindo's Savitri, Book 1, The Book of Beginnings, Canto 3, The Yoga of the Soul's Release, page 40. Only a while at first, these heavenlier states, these large, wide-poised upliftings could endure. The high and luminous tension breaks too soon. The body's stone stillness and the life's hushed trance, the breathless mind and calm of silent mind, or slowly they fail as sets a golden day. The restless nether members tire of peace, a nostalgia of old little words and joys, a need to call back small familiar selves, to tread the accustomed and inferior way, the need to rest in a natural poise of fall, as a child who learns to walk can walk not long, replace the Titan will forever to climb. On the heart's altar dim, the sacred fire. An old pull of subconscious chords renews. It draws the unwilling spirit from the heights, or a dull gravitation drags us down to the blind-driven inertia of our base. This too, the supreme diplomat can use. He makes our fall a means for greater rise, for into the ignorant nature's gusty field, into the half-ordered chaos of mortal life, the formless power, the self of eternal light, follow in the shadow of the Spirit's descent. The twin duality of forever, the twin duality forever one chooses its home mid the tumults of the sense. He comes unseen into our darker paths, and, curtained by the darkness, does his work, a subtle and all-knowing guest and guide, till they too feel the need and will to change. All here must learn to obey a higher law. Our body cells must hold the immortal's flame. Prayers and Meditations, written by our Divine Mother, dated November 19, 1912. Our Divine Mother writes, I said yesterday to that young Englishman who is seeking for thee with so sincere a desire that I had definitely found thee, that the union was constant. Such is indeed the state of which I am conscious. All my thoughts go towards thee, all my acts are consecrated to thee. Thy presence is for me an absolute, immutable, invariable fact, and thy peace dwells constantly in my heart. Yet I know that this state of union is poor and precarious compared with that which it will become possible for me to realize tomorrow, and I am as yet far, no doubt very far, from that identification in which I shall totally lose the notion of the I, of that I which I still use in order to express myself, but which is each time a constant, like a term unfit to express the thought that is seeking for expression. It seems to me indispensable for human communication, but all depends on what this I manifests, and how many times already, when I pronounce it, it is thou who speakest in me, for I have lost the sense of separativity. But all this is still in embryo, and will continue to grow towards perfection. What an appeasing assurance there is in this serene confidence in thy all mine. Thou art all, everywhere and in all, and this body which acts is thy own body, just as is the visible universe in its entirety. It is thou who breathest, thinkest, and lovest in this substance, which being thyself desires to be thy willing servant.
ॐ श्रीमीरायै नमः। ॐ श्रीमीरायै नमः। ॐ श्रीमीरायै नमः।
इदमर्घम् ॐ नमः अरविन्दाय नमः। ॐ नमः अरविन्दाय नमः। ॐ नमः शान्ताय सर्वपापहराय च। ॐ नमो श्री अरविन्दाय।
Words of our Divine Mother, taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, written to a small child who has joined the ashram as a student. Our Divine Mother writes to that child and says, "My dear little smile, you must not lose patience or courage. Everything will turn out all right. The condition you were in while embroidering the silence flower cannot return as it was before, for in this world things never repeat themselves in exactly the same way. Everything changes and progresses, but the state of mental peace you have known is nothing compared to the one, much deeper and completer, which you will come to know. You must keep your aspiration intact and your will to conquer all obstacles. You must have an unshakable faith in the Divine's grace and the sure victory. Sri Aurobindo is working for your transformation. How can there be doubt that he will triumph? With all my love," says our Divine Mother. This was written in 1931. Our Divine Mother writes again, "I simply meant to say that you were happy and confident as a child, or an animal is confident and happy without knowing why. Now you must learn to be happy and confident while knowing and understanding why, the deeper cause of happiness and your confidence." Our Divine Mother writes, "My dear little smile, for your smile is truly eternal. You must learn to speak to me as freely when you are near to me as you were in your room. Also, it would be better not to get angry, and if it happens, it is better to forget your anger quickly. If that isn't possible, then you must tell me very simply what has happened so that I may remove the anger from your consciousness of my little smile and give her back the joy and peace I want her always to have. With my most affectionate blessings." Then our Divine Mother writes to that child, "You shouldn't listen to the criticism of people without taste or sufficient education." Then our Divine Mother says, "My little smile, I'm very glad that you have written. I'm sure that you're feeling much better now. Do not attach too much importance to any of these small things. They are the imaginations of a child who knows nothing of life, of its misery and ugliness. For life is not as it is portrayed in novels. Day-to-day existence is full of sufferings, great and small, and it is only by identification with the Divine consciousness that one can attain and persevere the true, unchanging happiness. Keep your confidence and your faith my little smile, and everything will be all right with all my love. And our Divine Mother writes this to this child and says, develop this thought. Consecration to the divine is the secret of existence. A perpetual renewal of force comes from communion with the infinite. Our Divine Mother writes to this child and says, my dear little smile, it is very simple, as you will see. First, the infinite is the inexhaustible storehouse of forces. The individual is a battery, a storage cell which runs down after use. Consecration is the wire that connects the individual battery to the infinite reserve of forces. Or, second, the infinite is the river that flows without cease. The individual is the little pond that dries up slowly in the sun. Consecration is the canal that connects the river to the pond and prevents the pond from drying up. With these two images, I think you will understand. With all tender love, says our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, dullness comes from tamas. Imaginative activity was shaking off the tamas and thus ridding you of the dullness. But this is not the only way to get rid of it. Opening to the light and the divine consciousness from above, allowing them to replace the tamas in the external consciousness is a much better and surer way. Our Divine Mother says, the mind always runs like a madman. The first step is to detach one's consciousness from it and let it run by itself without running with it. Then it finds this less enjoyable. After some time, it will become quieter. Our Divine Mother says, my dear little smile, you must not exaggerate. Certainly there are two moments of vanity, rather childish besides, but they are not the only ones. I am sure that while you were listening to the music, you could always feel the pure and simple joy of the music for its own sake, and that when you are near me, you also feel the simple and sincere joy of a child nearer to its mother. The nature is complex, and always the true and the false, the good and the bad are mixed together. It is very useful to see one's faults and weaknesses clearly, but one should not see only them, for that too would be one-sided. One should always be aware of what is good and true in the nature and give it all one's attention so that this good and the true side can grow and ultimately absorb the rest and the transformation of the nature happens. Our Divine Mother says, you must not accept depression, never, and still less these suggestions from outside which are so stupid and false that I could ask you to go away. How can you dream of such a thing? You are at home here. Are you not my little daughter? And you will always have a place by my side in my love and protection, says our Divine Mother to that little child. And then our Divine Mother says, be careful, my dear child. Do not open the door to depression, discouragement, and revolt. This leads far and far away from consciousness of the divine and makes you sink into the depths of obscurity where happiness can no longer enter. Your great strength was your smile, because you know how to smile at life. You also know how to work with courage and steadiness, and in this you were exceptional. But you have followed the example of other people. You have learned from them to be discontented, rebellious, depressed, and now you have let your smile slip away, and with it your faith and confidence in me. In this condition, if all the divine forces were to concentrate on you, it would be in vain, because you would refuse to receive them. There is only one remedy. You must lose no time in accepting it. Recover your smile, regain your faith, Become once more the confident child you were. Do not brood over your faults and your difficulties. It is your smile that will chase them away, says our Divine Mother. This was stated on 16th December 1932. And then our Divine Mother writes to the child and says, in your sleep, you are becoming conscious of the noises that the mechanical thoughts of the most material mind make in their domain. There is an advantage in looking back after some time at what one has done, for at a distance removed from the action, one sees more clearly and better understands what ought to or one ought not to do. Do not worry. What should disappear will disappear. Only what is good will remain. And then our Divine Mother says, balance of the being is based upon regular work. You are a beautiful and skillful worker, my little smile. I'm proud of you and your work, which is so lovely. I see that you've written without making a single mistake. And then our Divine Mother says, did you notice the date today? It is 3/3/1933. That's 3rd of March 1933. Do you know that this happens only once in 11 years? 11 years ago in 1922, in the month of February, it was possible to write 2/2/22. 11 years from now, in the month of April, it will be possible to write 4/4/44 and so on. Is it interesting, isn't it? And then our Divine Mother says, only the manifestation of the universal harmony, which lies as it were at the very heart of creation, but the supramental beauty is something much higher, much more perfect. It is a beauty untainted by any ugliness. It does not need the proximity of ugliness in order to look beautiful. When the supramental force descends into matter, in order to manifest, this perfect beauty will express itself quite naturally and spontaneously in all forms. If a great promise came from above for you yesterday, the promise that you will be delivered from all your difficulties and that your mind will become luminously peaceful and your heart quietly confident. Do not torment yourself, my little smile. All this has come to teach you that on these occasions, after having had the joy of receiving Sri Aurobindo's blessings, it is better to remain concentrated and to keep one's joy locked inside oneself rather than to throw it out by mixing and talking with others. The experiences we talk about evaporate and we lose the benefit they could have brought us, says our Divine Mother. It is very good to remain silent and concentrated in your aspiration. I am sure that if you keep a deep affection in your heart, you feel it and it will no longer be sad. If you feel you can explain kindly what is happening, it will be good. You must not worry. It doesn't help towards the realization of the promises. And also you must be patient. In this physical world, things take time to get realized. Don't you believe that when one is a child of the Divine Mother, one is at the same time a child of Sri Aurobindo as well? That is enough. And all I ask is that we exchange a little message every day when you have something more important. You are a courageous and energetic child. All my affection for my hard-working little smile, affectionately with all tender love, says our Divine Mother.